Hello everybody, so I was just playing Nightfire and I wanted to figure out how are these lights done because they're not real lights. So this is actually two textures here and two UV maps. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into Blender and see how that's done. So we're here in Blender, we've got our object. So go ahead and click this object here, go into the shading tab, and we're going to go ahead and add the textures we want onto this object. So now you obviously want your main texture, which can be anything, it doesn't have to be the one I'm using. And if you can't see the texture, you can go up here and change it to the viewport shading. Now we're going to go ahead and drop in our emission map texture. And you can download this texture in the description. Go ahead and make sure that your main texture is plugged into the base color here. You can go ahead and go into the layout view, press the material preview again. Alright, this looks pretty ugly. We're going to go ahead and clean this up with some UV editing. Simple enough, you can just press U on the keyboard, project to view, press A, scale that up, and see that material preview again. Alright, so that looks good enough for the main texture. Now we're going to go ahead and do the emission map. So what you need to do is go over here to UV map and add a UV map, and we can just call it light, or you don't have to rename it. Alright, now we click this little camera button to see what that UV map looks like. Now we go back to shading up here and attach the emission map to our base color. Alright, now we go back to UV editing. That's obviously not what we want the emission map to look like. Select everything here in the UV editing, scale this down, move it around to however you want it. Something like that works fine. Alright, so now obviously you can't see both textures at the same time, so we have to go back to the shading tab here. Go back to the UV map and make sure that the first one is selected. And then in our shading tab here, we're going to press Shift A, type in mix. Go ahead and change float to color. Attach your main texture and your emission map to A and B. Go ahead and put the result into base color. Okay, now you can obviously see that this is not matching, so we're just going to fix that by pressing Shift A again, typing UV map. Now you bring the UV map into this vector here and click this right here and click your light map. Alright, and there it is. Our emission texture is now with the regular texture. So we can go ahead and export that and bring it into Unity. Alright, now that we're back here in Unity, we've went ahead and added our object to the scene, and this works if you have a shader that accepts emission map. So for this one, I went ahead and created a shader using Claude AI. That's just a simple go road shading with an emission map. Now you can edit this to your heart's content. If you don't know how to add a shader to your game, go ahead and right click, create shader, standard surface shader. Alright, and just name it whatever you want. Alright, and then we can right click this new shader here, go to material, and add it to our object. Alright, and then double click this new shader, and we're going to go ahead and add this script in the description for you to have. So go ahead and copy that in there, save it, wait for it to come up. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add our concrete texture that we had. Go ahead and bring that emission map in and change the emission color. Alright, you will see that it's not the right UV map here, so we're going to go ahead and change the emission UV set until it looks correct. Alright, that looks about good right there. And the good thing about this shader is that you can change the color. Of course, if your light's a different color, then you can have all the colors you want. And that right there is how you create a fake light in Unity. Thank you for watching.